If you've ever worked with data, you know the feeling. On one side, you've got this pristine, structured data locked up tight in a fortress. On the other, this wild, untamed lake of information that's just full of potential, but also, chaos. So what if you could have the best of both worlds? Today, we're going to dig into an architecture that claims to do exactly that.
All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the core problem, what I'm calling the Great Data Divide. Then we'll introduce the hero of our story, the Lakehouse. We'll find out what makes it so reliable, see how it turns raw, messy data into pure gold, and then finally, we'll talk about the huge payoff you get when you bring it all together.
Okay, so to really get why the Lakehouse is such a game changer, we have to understand the problem it's trying to solve. For years, the data world has been kind of split, right? Torn between two totally different ways of thinking. So on one side, you have the data warehouse. Think of it like a fortress of order. It is perfect for those traditional business reports because every single piece of data has its exact place. But try to feed it messy, modern stuff like social media posts or sensor data. Yeah, those walls start to crumble real fast. Then on the other side, you've got the data lake. It's this massive, swirling universe of information. It's cheap, it can hold literally anything, but it is pure chaos. It's a total data free-for-all, which makes finding anything you can actually trust a complete nightmare. And this right here, this is the nightmare scenario we all want to avoid, the data swamp. It is the place where valuable insights go to die, just lost in this murky, unusable mess. And look, that's not just an inconvenience. It's a fundamental failure of the system. So clearly, this choice between a rigid fortress and a chaotic swamp, it wasn't a choice at all. We needed a third way.
And that brings us to the Data Lakehouse. Now, this isn't just some small update. It's a whole new way of thinking, an architecture designed from the ground up to solve that massive conflict between the warehouse and the lake. So what in the world is a data lakehouse? Well, it's a really brilliant hybrid. Imagine taking the solid, reliable foundation of a data warehouse and building it directly on top of the vast, super flexible landscape of a data lake. You get that cheap, limitless storage for all your data, but you also get the structure and speed you need to do some serious analysis.
And it all comes down to three main ideas. First, it's a unified platform. This means your data scientists and your business analysts. They're no longer living in separate worlds. They're all working from one single source of truth. Second, it's built on open formats. And this is huge. It means your data belongs to you, not some vendor, which stops you from getting locked into one expensive system. And finally, it pulls off the holy grail. You get the performance and the governance of a warehouse with all the flexibility of a data lake.
So you're probably wondering, how do you actually tame the chaos of a data lake and make it trustworthy? Well, the secret is this superpower that it borrows from the world of traditional databases, something called ACID transactions.
Okay, ACID. It stands for 4 guarantees. Atomicity means it's all or nothing. Think of a bank transfer. The entire thing either succeeds or it fails completely. No half-done jobs. Consistency just means the data always has to follow the rules, which prevents any impossible or weird scenarios. Isolation means that multiple people can work on the data at the same time without tripping over each other, kind of like painters in different rooms. And durability means once a change is saved, it's permanent. It's going to survive a power outage or a system crash.
All right, that sounds great for a bank, right? But why is this such a game changer for a data lake? Because it completely transforms the data lake from a swamp into a reservoir of trust. With ACID guarantees, you no longer have failed jobs leaving behind corrupted data. You can have multiple teams writing data at the exact same time without creating total chaos. I mean, this isn't just a small improvement. It is the foundation that makes everything else possible. For the first time, you get to have both massive scale and rock-solid integrity. Okay, so now that we have this reliable foundation, how do we organize all the data to make sure it doesn't just turn back into a swamp? Well, the most popular way to do this is a pattern called the Medallion Architecture.
And the Medallion Architecture is a really powerful idea. Basically, your data matures in stages, moving through 3 distinct layers of increasing quality: bronze, silver, and gold. Let's take a look at how that works. First up, all your data lands in the bronze layer. It's raw, unfiltered, completely untouched. This is your historical archive, the original source of truth. Next, it moves into the silver layer. This is where the real cleanup happens. We standardize things, filter out the junk, and join different data sources to create a single, reliable view of the world. And finally, the data graduates to the gold layer.
This is the prime stuff, highly aggregated, optimized for specific business needs, and totally ready to power dashboards and AI models.
So we've combined this storage, we've brought in reliability with ACID, and we've organized the data with the Medallion architecture. What's the final piece of the puzzle? Well, it's a unified layer for governance and security that makes everything simple.
This is the command center. A central governance layer gives you a single pane of glass to manage absolutely everything. You can control exactly who sees what data, you can track the entire history of your data, its lineage, and you can audit everything that happens, all from one place. For anyone on the security and compliance teams, this is basically a dream come true.
So what's the ultimate payoff? What do you get from all this? First, you demolish data silos. No more keeping separate, out-of-sync copies of data for different teams. Second, you get one platform for every single workload, from your standard reports all the way to advanced AI. And finally, because you're using open standards, you own your data's future, totally free from vendor lock-in.
And that really brings us to our final thought here. A lakehouse isn't just a technical solution, it's a business enabler. So the real question I want to leave you with is this. Once your data is finally unified, trustworthy, and accessible to everyone who needs it, what are the game-changing questions that you'll finally be able to ask and answer?